I'd always been the type to chase adventure, even if it meant flying solo. At 25, I took a weekend trip to Seattle to visit an old college friend, soaking in the gray skies and coffee shops until my red-eye flight. Home landed me back in the Midwest at 1 a.m. The airport was a ghost town, empty escalators humming, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Exhausted but wired, I dragged my duffel bag to the curb, rain spitting down in cold, lazy drops. Taxis lined up like vultures, and I picked one at random. A faded gray sedan with a dented hood. The driver, a wiry guy with a scruffy beard, leaned out and offered me a ride for $25. It beat the overpriced apps, so I nodded, tossing my bag to the back seat and sliding in beside it, diagonal from him. He tapped my address into an ancient GPS, and we rolled into the wet night. The highway stretched dark and slick, rain streaking the windows as the wipers squeaked in rhythm. I caught his eyes in the rearview mirror, sharp, unblinking, twice before he spoke. "Where you coming from?" His voice was gravelly, like he'd smoked too many years. "Seattle," I said, keeping it short. "Pretty city," he muttered, then added, "You out there alone?" I shrugged. "Visiting a friend." He grinned, teeth yellowed in the dim light. "Friend as gorgeous as you?" My stomach twisted. A laugh escaped me, sharp and nervous, but his words slithered under my skin. It wasn't just flirty. It was hungry. He kept going. "A beauty like you, traveling all by herself? Where's the man in your life?" I forced a smirk. "I manage fine solo, thanks." He chuckled, low and slow. "Independent type, huh? I like that." He looked maybe 50, his hands tight on the wheel, and every glance in that mirror felt like a pinprick. Rain hammered harder, blurring the world outside. I recognized the exit ramp to my neighborhood, 5 minutes from my apartment, but he didn't slow. "That's my turn," I said, voice steady despite the thudding in my chest. We sailed past it. "Missed it," he grunted. "Next one's close." I leaned forward, squinting at his GPS, but the screen was tilted away, unreadable. My fingers tightened around my bag. At the next exit, I barked, "Here, get off here." He flicked the blinker, veered right, but his eyes darted to me again, cold, almost pissed. Then, casual as anything, "Boyfriend waiting up for you?" "Yeah." I lied fast. "He's at home." His gaze lingered, testing me. "What's he called?" My blood ran hot. "None of your damn business," I snapped, digging out my earbuds. Dead. But I shoved them in anyway, a wall between us. That question wasn't playful. It was a probe, and it chilled me to the bone. I fired off a text to my sister, hands shaky. "Weird driver. Shared my location. Check on me." We were in my town now, streetlights casting wet halos on empty roads. At a stoplight, his stare pinned me again. Dark. Heavy. Like he was peeling me apart. My earbuds sat silent. I'd have heard him if he spoke. The light turned green, and he didn't move until I said, "Go." He smirked and rolled forward. My phone buzzed. My sister. Awake. Thank God. "Get out if he's off," she texted. She was an hour away, but her words lit a fuse. Another light loomed, and there, in a gas station lot, glowed a cop car's taillights. His eyes met mine again, and I snapped, grabbed my bag, yanked the door handle. "Hey!" he shouted, jabbing at the lock button, but I shoved it open, rain soaking me as I stumbled out. He didn't follow, just gunned the engine and peeled away, tires hissing on wet pavement. My $25 didn't matter to him, and that scared me more. Soaked and trembling, I ran to the cop, boots splashing. He rolled down his window, eyebrows up. "That driver, he was bad news," I stammered. "Can you get me home?" He hesitated, then jerked his head. "Back seat." I climbed in, dripping, grateful my panic sold the story. 10 minutes later, I was unlocking my door. The rain, a dull roar, outside. I didn't unpack, just locked everything, brushed my teeth, and fell into bed, the night replaying in jagged flashes. Then, a knock. Sharp, insistent, rattling my front door. My heart stopped. He knew where I lived. Was he back for cash? Or me? I froze. Blankets clutched to my shin as it pounded again. Paused, then resumed. I didn't move, didn't breathe, until it finally quit. Silence settling like a shroud. Sleep took me, fitful and thin. Morning came gray and heavy. At work, thankfully a late shift, my neighbor Jen called. Your brother swung by earlier, said he had something for you, but couldn't get in. I frowned. I didn't know he was coming. Jen added, he didn't leave anything, just looked around outside. I dialed my brother, Mark. He laughed. Me? I've been at the shop all day. Ice slid down my spine. I told him everything. The driver, the knocks, the dread still clinging to me. Come stay with us, he urged. I agreed, but I had to pack first. Back home that night, the air felt wrong. Thick. Alive. I shoved clothes into a bag, ears straining. A floorboard groaned behind me, faint but real. I told myself it was the old building, but my hands shook. Then, a creak. Slow and deliberate. From my hallway closet. I didn't mean to scare you. A voice rasped. His voice, low and oily. A shadow shifted, an arm reaching from the dark. I screamed, pure terror propelling me to the door, out into the rain again, hammering on Jen's place. She and her husband spilled out, wide-eyed, as I sobbed for help. We called the cops from her porch, my voice breaking as I explained. They searched my place, small, quick, and found the back window jimmied open, muddy prints trailing out. No cab ID, no plates, just a gray sedan, and his face burned into me. I gave them the route, begged for street cams. I crashed at Mark's for weeks, added locks, got a stun gun I keep close. I've moved since, ditched taxis for good. Too many fakes out there, too many shadows. Was he even a driver? I'll never sleep easy wondering.